Hey everyone, welcome back. Grab your coffee, get comfortable, because today we're diving into one of the most disturbing cases in psychology history. And I'm not going to lie, this one kept me up at night when I first learned about it. Like, I had to take breaks while researching because it's just that heavy. So, before we start, I need to give you a serious content warning here. We're talking about child abuse, medical malpractice, psychological torture, and a really tragic ending. If that's too much for you today, totally understand. Maybe skip this one and come back when you're in a better headspace. But if you're ready to hear about how one psychologist's ego literally destroyed an entire family and how the scientific community just let it happen for decades, then stay with me because this story is absolutely wild. Okay, so picture this. It's 1965, Winnipeg, Canada. There's this young couple, Janet and Ron Reimer, and they just had identical twin boys, Bruce and Brian, healthy, beautiful babies. Everything's going perfectly, right? Life is good. But when the boys are about 8 months old, the parents notice they're both having some trouble urinating. Nothing crazy, just a minor issue. So they take them to the hospital for a routine circumcision. I mean, this is standard stuff that happens literally thousands of times every single day. Except this time, and I cannot stress this enough, something goes horribly, catastrophically wrong. The doctor decides to use this electrocautery device instead of the normal scalpel. So basically, he's using an electrical burning tool to do the procedure, and guys, that machine malfunctions. Bruce's penis is completely destroyed, like burnt beyond any possibility of repair. It's gone. And can you even imagine, you take your baby in for a routine procedure, and you leave with your child's life completely altered forever. The doctor immediately cancels Brian's procedure, but it's too late. The damage is done. And remember, this is 1965. We're not talking about modern reconstructive surgery. That technology just didn't exist yet. So Janet and Ron are sitting there, absolutely devastated, thinking, what kind of life is our son going to have? How is he going to grow up? What do we do? So they're desperate. They're searching for any kind of answer, any kind of hope. And then one night they're watching TV, and on comes this psychologist from Johns Hopkins University, Dr. John Money. And he's talking about this theory that's been getting a lot of buzz in academic circles. He's claiming, very confidently I might add, that gender isn't biological, that it's not about your chromosomes or your anatomy. According to Dr. Money, gender is entirely learned through socialization. Nature doesn't matter, it's all nurture. And he's saying on national television that you can raise any child as any gender, and as long as you do it early enough, they'll completely adopt that identity with zero psychological issues. Like, it'll be totally fine, no problem. Now, for Janet and Ron, watching this, it's like a miracle. They're thinking, okay, maybe we can raise Bruce as a girl. Maybe he won't even know the difference. Maybe this could actually work. So they contact Dr. Money, and guys, he is thrilled because for him, this isn't just about helping one family. Oh no, this is about proving his theory and becoming famous. And here's what makes this absolutely perfect from his twisted perspective. Bruce has an identical twin brother, same DNA, same environment, same family. It's a ready-made control group, one twin raised as a boy, one raised as a girl. If his theory is correct, both should be perfectly happy. This is the study that's going to make him a legend. So when Bruce is 22 months old, Dr. Money does the surgery. They remove his testicles, construct female genitalia, change his name to Brenda, put him in dresses, give him dolls, and tell the parents to never ever reveal the truth. He has to be raised as a girl, period. And every single year, both kids have to come back to Baltimore for these checkups with Dr. Money. And this is where I literally had to stop reading the first time I researched this because what I'm about to tell you is so disturbing. Those checkups, they weren't medical exams. They were abuse sessions. David Reimer, that's the name he chose later in life, when he finally spoke publicly about this, He described what Dr. Money made them do. And guys, I'm warning you right now, this is really hard to hear. Dr. Money forced these children, these little kids, to engage in what he called sexual rehearsal play. He made them inspect each other's genitals while he watched. He made them simulate sexual positions. And he photographed them. He took pictures of children doing these things. If they refused, if they tried to resist, he would scream at them, verbally abuse them, terrorize them until they complied. David said these sessions haunted him for the rest of his life. This wasn't science. This was child abuse disguised as research, and nobody stopped him. Meanwhile, Brenda's everyday life is falling apart. Despite all the dresses, despite all the dolls, despite everyone around her insisting she's a girl, she knows deep down that something is very wrong. She feels like a boy. She wants to play with trucks, not dolls. She wants to wear pants, not dresses. At school, she's getting bullied constantly, called a tomboy, told she's weird. She's experiencing what we now know as severe gender dysphoria, but she doesn't have the language for it. She's depressed, she's having suicidal thoughts, and she keeps telling her parents, I feel like a boy. Something's wrong, I don't want to be a girl. Her teachers are seeing the problems. Her parents are watching their child suffer, but Dr. Money just keeps telling them everything's fine, everything's going according to plan, just keep doing what you're doing. And this is where it gets even worse, if you can believe it. In 1972, Dr. Money publishes his findings. He calls it the John Joan case to keep the family anonymous, and in this published paper, he claims complete success. He writes that the child has fully accepted her female identity, that she acts like a normal little girl, that there are 0 psychological problems. This paper becomes famous. It gets taught in universities. It gets cited in medical textbooks all over the world. Doctors start performing gender reassignment surgeries on infants based on this study. His theory becomes accepted as fact in the medical community. But guys, it was all a lie. Every single word. Brenda was miserable, she was suicidal, and Dr. Money knew it. But admitting failure meant admitting his entire theory was wrong, and his ego couldn't handle that. So he just lied. He published completely fraudulent data, and children around the world were harmed because doctors trusted him. By the time Brenda is 13, things have reached a breaking point. She tells her parents, I will kill myself if you make me see Dr. Money again. I'm done. And that's when Janet and Ron realize they can't keep doing this. They can't keep watching their child suffer. So when she's 15, her dad sits her down and tells her everything. You were born a boy. Your name was Bruce. There was an accident. We made a decision based on a doctor's advice, and we were wrong. And Brenda, who immediately chooses the name David, said it was like everything suddenly clicked into place. He wasn't crazy. He wasn't broken. He was right all along. He was a boy. He said he felt this huge wave of relief mixed with anger and betrayal, but mostly just relief that he wasn't losing his mind. David immediately starts transitioning back to male. He gets testosterone injections, has surgery to remove the breasts he developed from estrogen treatments, goes through multiple painful procedures to reconstruct male anatomy. He legally changes his name to David because he said he felt like David fighting Goliath, and honestly, he was. For a while, things actually seem okay. At 22, he marries a woman named Jane. They adopt 3 kids, and he's finally living as himself. He's finally free from Dr. Money's control. And I remember when I first read this part, I thought, okay, maybe there's hope here. Maybe he can heal. But that's not what happens. Because here's the thing about trauma, especially childhood trauma this severe. It doesn't just disappear. It shapes everything. In 1997, this psychologist named Dr. Milton Diamond, who had disagreed with Dr. Money for years, hears rumors that the John Joan case wasn't actually successful. He tracks David down and asks if he'd be willing to go public with his story. And David says yes, because he wants to protect other kids from going through what he went through. So Diamond publishes a paper revealing the truth, and the medical community is absolutely shocked. Textbooks have to be rewritten. Hospital protocols change. Dr. Money's reputation is destroyed, though he never apologizes, never admits fault, and faces zero legal consequences, which honestly makes me so angry I can't even articulate it properly. But the damage was already done. David struggles with unemployment, financial problems, severe depression. And then in 2002, his twin brother Brian dies from a drug overdose. Brian had also been traumatized by everything that happened with Dr. Money, and he never recovered. David is devastated. His marriage falls apart. And on May 4th, 2004, David Reimer, at just 38 years old, takes his own life in a supermarket parking lot. And when I first read that, I just sat there, staring at my screen thinking, this man deserved so much better. He deserved to be protected, not experimented on. So what do we learn from this? What does this absolutely heartbreaking case teach us? First, it completely demolished the idea that gender is purely a social construct with no biological component. David's brain had been masculinized by testosterone in the womb. That's neuroscience, that's biology. And no amount of dresses or dolls or behavioral conditioning could override that. It proved that gender identity has deep biological roots. But more importantly, it taught us something about ethics and science that we should never forget. Dr. Money's need to be right, his ego, his desire for fame, was more important to him than the well-being of actual human children in his care. He abused them, lied about the results, influenced medical practice worldwide with fraudulent data, and faced no real consequences. That should terrify all of us. This case changed how doctors approach intersex conditions and childhood gender issues. They don't do forced surgeries on infants anymore. They wait, they let the child develop, they let the person make their own decisions. And that's directly because of David's courage in telling his story. But the cost was his entire life, his brother's life, his family's happiness, all destroyed because one scientist couldn't admit he was wrong. You guys, this case haunts me because it makes you wonder what else might be built on lies. What other famous studies in psychology textbooks might be hiding inconvenient truths? How many other experts put their reputation above honesty? The David Reimer case isn't just about gender. It's about power, ethics, and what happens when science forgets its responsibility to protect the vulnerable. David and Brian Reimer deserved so much better than what they got. They deserve protection, not torture. They deserved help, not harm. Rest in peace to both of them. I hope their story prevents this from ever happening to another child, and I hope we never stop questioning authority, demanding transparency, and putting human dignity first. All right, guys, I need to go decompress after that one. If this story affected you, please reach out to someone, talk to a friend. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.